If you have a 4-stroke dirt bike and want it to last at least twice as long, using 3 simple tips, listen up. In the previous video, I shared 3 mistakes that kill the reliability of your 4-stroke dirt bike. Now I want to share 3 tips to combat these. The first one is shifting sooner. If you're constantly riding at wide open throttle or you're hitting the rev limiter because it sounds cool and you think you're going faster, well, you're not. Yes, the rev limiter is there for a reason, so your engine doesn't spin up ridiculously high. But if you're riding at a lower RPM, say 9,000 RPM or 10,000 as opposed to 13,000, just think about it. You're gonna be doing less wear and tear on your engine. You might be thinking, well, that's slower though. Actually, it might not be. One, it's faster because the rev limiter, that RPM, the power is actually less than it is at peak horsepower. If you're looking at a dyno chart, the power goes typically like this, and then here you got peak power, and then it starts to taper off, and down here, that's where the rev limiter is at. So if you just shift a couple thousand RPMs sooner up here, it's gonna be at a higher horsepower or torque number. It's gonna drop back down, but it's still gonna be above or at least at where that rev limiter is at. And 2, it's actually gonna be less tiring, at least from my experience, because it's less jerky, or at least because the chassis isn't gonna be rocking back and forth as easily. Tip number 2 to make your 4-stroke last at least twice as long is a properly oiled air filter. Keyword, properly oiled. Number 1, a dirty, filthy air filter is going to kill the reliability because it's sucking in more dirt, and that's what kills the engine. But number 2, if you just replace it with a fresh filter and there's no oil on it at all, dirt is still gonna be sucking through that air filter into the engine, wearing it out faster, especially if you have one of those K&N style air filters. People put them on their dirt bikes and I'm just like, what? They think they're getting more power because it's flowing more air, and they might for a little bit, but those are meant for street. A K&N style air filter is dry, and it's meant to keep dirt and debris out when riding on the street. But riding in the dirt, you need a foam style filter with oil, because it's the oil that helps attract or stop the dirt from going through the filter. As the dirt gets sucked into the air box, the oil is like little sticky hands grabbing that dirt and sticking on the foam so it doesn't go through the filter. However, if you have too much oil on the filter, this isn't likely to kill your engine or reliability, but it's gonna cause it to run poorly because not enough air is getting by it. So if you're oiling your filter and you can squeeze a bunch of oil out of it, there's too much oil in it. Tip number 3 is keeping the temperature down of the engine. Now, if you have an air-cooled engine, which I like riding because it's more fun to ride a slow bike fast than a fast bike slow, but these motocross bikes with a liquid cooled engine get hot really quickly. And if there's not enough coolant in the radiators, it's gonna overheat very quickly. So to prevent coolant from spewing out and you're riding at low RPM, learn how to properly and efficiently control the clutch. Because if you're constantly fanning the clutch to keep the engine alive, that's gonna heat up the oil a lot more quickly, cause the engine to get hot quicker, and the water temp of the coolant is gonna rise up and spew out the overflow. Which means that if coolant does leak out, you need to check and fill the radiator so that it's above the fins every time you ride. And even if you don't have to use the clutch, if you're riding at like 5 miles an hour, just putting around, or you're idling too long, these motocross bikes are still gonna overheat. So you either need to ride faster to get air flowing past the radiator fins to cool them down, or you need to put a fan on the radiator so that you can either turn it on manually or have it hooked up to your dash or some temperature sensor so that once it reaches a certain temp, the fan turns on, gets some air flowing and cools it back down. Or it could just be the jetting that's causing it to run too hot. And this is what happens when the jetting is too lean, because the fuel, not only does it make it run properly, but it also cools down the engine, like the valves and the piston. But if you're new to carb tuning or you're new to dirt bikes and you're not sure if the jetting's right or wrong, I encourage you to grab my free guide. It's the 6 alarming signs that your dirt bike is running too rich or too lean. You can grab that, it's free. The link is in the description below. I'm Kelly Fagan from MXHideout. Stay reliable, ride longer, save more money.